The Institute for Family Studies put out a report recently that, and I wrote it down. I'll make sure I got this right. Adults under 40, 7% of single adults said they're open to having an AI romantic partner, and 25% of young adults believe AI relationships could potentially replace real life romance. Taken in context, as you mentioned earlier, we have a loneliness and what's it called? What was the epidemic? An epidemic of loneliness and solitude or
Isolation.
isolation. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Of this isolation epidemic, right? Do you think, when you hear those stats, do you think that that is a symptom of the isolation that's happening right now? Or do you think that it is a contributor to growing isolation, or both? And do you think it is healthy to have something, when we're talking about needs being met, is it healthy to have a individual view AI as a potential romantic partner? I mean, you see these things on the news where people like marry their video game avatar and whatnot out in Japan. And it's, the wacky story of the week and stuff like that, because it's here and there. But I mean, we're talking about a measurable amount of people who are like, well, maybe I'd go on a date with an AI, right? Like,
Yeah.
should that be concerning, do you think? Or what are the thoughts that kind of bring to mind for you?
Yeah. Yeah, when you ask, like, is it a contributor or an effect? I think, yeah, the answer is yes, and to what extent is it either? And I don't know. And the interesting thing is because this is developing all of happening so fast, our research has a lag time, for a myriad of reasons. So much of it is, just surveys that are happening by journalists, and those are really good pieces of information to have. But when it comes to the empirical studies of this, it's going to be a little while until we can actually design and look at those.
And
Um,
understand the scale, you mean?
yeah, the scale of it. And there is some interesting research out there that doesn't look to me totally different from what we found with like just access to pornography, access to internet porn, access to, other sex tech tools people use like VR pornography, and that kind of thing. So we could talk about it like people I think jump to it's probably going to be an addiction or a big problem, and I don't think that that's the case. It's all on a spectrum. It's like again AI is a tool. So if you're using it for in relationship advice, sex advice on one end, you might again get access to some information you might not have otherwise had, with caveats about how accurate it is, always being questioned. Um, and then there are people who, and young people are using it, and like simulating relationships and like testing out dialogue and how do I flirt? How do I do that?
Hey, man, I could have used that. I was never a good flirter at all. So, like, if I could
Fight
have
fight like
tested
you
some
train like
lines.
you fight. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that potentially too, like an assistant there, and all of that again could be integrated into therapy or sex coaching, and with a professional who can help with that, like using it as a tool for assistance.